Okay, everybody, here I am to do my review. I just watched the show, but I have some notes here in case I need to remember anything. So it picks up where it left off last week, and that was with Veronica lurking in the stairwell. So she comes up in the stairwell where Justin is, and she's heard what he was saying to Jeffrey. So she says, "Well, I'm going to say that you've been sexually harassing my son." Now, Justin was initially doing that when he first met Jeffrey, but now that's not really the case. So Veronica, what she would be doing was like bringing a bogus case to the court. So from there, she basically just says she's going to try to have his wife, Justin's wife, throwing off the case because she's a judge. She's going to try to get her thrown off the case because Jeffrey is involved with her husband. Now, clearly, her intent is really to she's just trying to mess with Justin because like she messed with Wyatt, she sent that prisoner in there to attack him. You know, she's just going to attack any man that, well, Wyatt's not involved with Jeffrey, but you know what I'm saying. She didn't get to Landon though, because Landon left town before anything could happen to him. So, but what happened was Veronica didn't anticipate that Justin would clap back, and he's not really afraid of her. I don't know what he held to her throat. I think I don't know if it was a gun or a taser or a nightstick, but he had held something to her throat. And she's saying that she's not afraid, but I think that she figured that she's not messing with somebody that's, you know, that is as, you know, willing to bend to her will as other people that she's messed with. So she's not really going to get what she wants there, at least not right now. So then we move on to Jim, and he's trying to find out where Wyatt is, and Jeffrey doesn't want to tell him initially, but then Jim apologizes for yelling at Jeffrey, and Jeffrey tells him what room Wyatt is in. So that was that for that. That's all we see of Jim for now. And then Jeffrey, his father, has to basically pull the truth out of him about what happened with Quincy. So he tells him everything that happened with that, how he stabbed Quincy and all of that, and how Candace told him not to call the police, and David said something like, I think he said, "Oh, that criminal." And she's not even really a good criminal to some extent because she kind of made things worse. It was really sloppy. The cover-up was really sloppy, and it only made things worse. Had she been smart, she would have let Jeffrey call the police, and they could have been out of that just like that. But now they're in even worse trouble. So let me look at my notes. So Jim goes in to see Wyatt, and he wants a minute with him, and the lady from the drug rehab or wherever it is, she doesn't really want to let Jim be alone with him, but he eventually convinces her to skedaddle for a minute so he can talk to Wyatt. And Wyatt is still unconscious, of course. And he takes out this handkerchief, and I wasn't sure what he was doing with it at first. Like, is he gonna try to kill Wyatt? But no, he wasn't. He just wiped his brow and he said some words, and then he got out of there. He didn't overstay his welcome, and he got out of there before Wyatt could wake up and get triggered by his presence. So he kept his word to the lady from the drug rehab center. So then we move on to Hannah. Now, Hannah, again, I'm thinking that now she's ready to she was ready to go to Catherine's house, and she's there and all of that. And I said, well, you should have been over there a long time ago, but now it's too little too late, because your grandson is dead. He got shot in the head because you were in some crappy motel, and Warlock knew where you were, and you know all that happened. So Hannah's faith is shook. She's not acting like she usually does, with all her prayer and all that. So she's shook. And Catherine is trying to be the voice of reason now and trying to get her back on track and all of that. And so Hannah calls Benny, but Mitch has his phone, and he answers the phone, and of course he doesn't tell Hannah, okay, well, Benny got arrested. He just says, oh, well, he stepped out. I'll let him know you called. And so he covered that one up, because that would have further put Hannah into a spiral. And so again, Catherine is trying to get her back on track, and the only reason that Hannah really got, she lightened up for 1 second when Catherine said she was gonna cook, and she looked like, oh no. And Catherine didn't even know how to turn on the stove. So okay, that was that for that. And so we move on to Candace, who is still in the hotel, and the directors are really doing a poor job at trying to obscure the actress's pregnancy, because she's out of the bed now, but they have this weird looking coat on her and something, and I don't know, it just is a bad job of obscuring. They probably should have had Candace disappear for some reason, just to give the actress time to, get through a pregnancy and then come back, but perhaps they didn't have time to do the rewrites, whatever. And so she opens the adjoining door to the where the presidential candidate is, and he has his kids there, and they're getting ready to go to school, and so they talk to Candace a little bit, and I'm like, okay, the kids are talking to a hoe, and whatever. So the nanny takes them to school, and then basically this whole entire scene between Candace and the presidential candidate, I can't remember what his name is, it was basically just foreplay, and it's not even, there was really no really meaty dialogue, except he said this one about polls don't lie. Yeah, that's what everybody thought last year when Trump got elected. So polls don't always get things accurately. And so the part about this scene that was really worth talking about was that Candace was acting like a pimp, not a madam, but a pimp. She's basically just telling this guy to do what she wants, and he did it. But there's an interesting twist to that, and I'll get to it. So they show Benny in jail, and Benny, he's saying the same thing. You're holding me here, I'm not going to talk. If you're not arresting me, you cannot hold me here. And so the cop, he says, okay, and then he brings this guy that's FBI, and the guy says, well, we want your DNA because you're a threat to a presidential candidate. And that came out of nowhere. It probably has something to do with Candace. And she's put Benny in such a bad position because he went over there and buried that body and stuff. So, and now these antics she's pulling with this presidential candidate, she's probably gotten him roped into that somehow. And so Benny just says, no, I'm not giving you my DNA. And so the FBI guy's like, okay, I'll be back. So it seems like they're going to try to just forcefully take his DNA, which is not legal, which I know that the police and all that can take DNA. If they suspect somebody is guilty of a crime, they can hang around their hangouts and whatever and try to get, you know, they can try to get like utensils or whatever and pull their DNA off it and then match it against the database. But I'm pretty sure they can't just force somebody to give their DNA. And so back to Candace, and just, you know, it's just skip over all the bad stuff. It's like that's, you know, a bunch of useless banter. But she's like, she thinks that she's smart, but all of a sudden, I guess it's like FBI that burst into the room, and they accuse her of having ties to Syria or something, and of terrorism, and having some laptop with stuff on it. That's not mine. And this is like this is the second episode in a row where Candace ended up looking dumb in a scene. Last week, she fell for that $100 bill taped to a stack of paper trick and looked stupid. Now she's looking stupid and getting accused of terrorism. So that's where the episode ended.
Still in the bed through it all.
Yeah, still in the bed through it all. Remember, she doesn't even know that her child is dead. So next week we see Veronica slapping Melissa across the face and saying something, you're gonna be a mother, you're gonna do this, blah blah blah. And then we see Veronica with Benny, and I don't know if she's gonna be helpful to him, but because she seems more bent on doing dirt to people and trying to pull things off that are just impossible. But anyway, that was the episode. If you have any comments, just drop them below. And if you like this video and want me to do more content, like and subscribe.